How often do we think of our failures, our slip ups, or the things that did not go as planned? What if I told you that those things you regret, those moments where you beat yourself up, were actually the universe's way of guiding you towards something better? Well, when I first heard this philosophy, I was skeptical. I mean, how could something like losing a job or making a bad decision not be considered a mistake? But then I realized something profound. But if those experiences were not just random accidents or failures, but stepping stones on a path I couldn't yet see? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I inspire people to live a better life. Today, I want to talk about something that I think we all struggle with at some point in our lives: mistakes. For a long time, I used to be haunted by them, replaying every wrong turn, every failed decision, like an endless loop. But over time, I began to look at mistakes through a different lens, one that involves philosophy. And to be honest, it has changed the way I think, I live, and perhaps most importantly, forgive myself. I know there are a lot of you watching who might be in your 20s, 30s, or around that age. But even if you are not, I think this topic will resonate with everybody. Because at the end of the day, mistakes are universal. When I was in my 20s, mistakes felt like anchors. They held me in place. I used to replay conversation in my head. What if I had said this instead of that? Or what if I had made a different choice? It wasn't just that I was afraid of making mistakes, but I truly believed that the wrong choice would define me. But here is the thing: in your 20s, you don't always have the perspective that mistakes are the part of bigger picture. At that age, it's hard to see the forest for the trees. You feel so much pressure to get everything right because you don't realize that mistakes are not the end of the story. They are just one chapter. Fast forward to now, my 30s, where it gets interesting. As I have gotten older, I have started to understand that mistakes are essential. In fact, the more mistakes I make, the more I realize they are the raw material of growth. It's like I have stopped trying to erase them and started asking, what can I learn from them? You see, the way we view mistakes changes as we get older. In your 20s, mistakes can feel like personal disaster. But in your 30s, there is this subtle understanding that mistakes are like guides. There is another thing I have realized: the idea of perfection. For a long time, I thought I needed to avoid mistakes at all cost because perfection was the goal. But now I see perfection as an overrated concept. Life is messy, and mistakes are the part of that messiness. Mistakes also give life texture. They make it real, and they help us grow in ways success never could. I think a huge part of being in your 30s is learning to make peace with your past. It's not about erasing mistakes or pretending they did not happen. It's about accepting that those mistakes, however big or small, have contributed to who you are now. In philosophy, this idea is often known as self actualization, where you start to really understand and appreciate your authentic self with all the flaws. So, what does philosophy say about mistakes? There is a great quote by a philosopher who said, "Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forward." And that resonates so much with my own experiences. When you are in the middle of a mistake, it can feel like you are lost. It's hard to see how it fits into the bigger picture. But later, when you look back, you often realize that they were the moments that forced you to make choices that shaped your future. According to Socrates, the unexamined life is not worth living. According to Socrates, there are no mistakes, only opportunities for self examination. In my 30s, I have learned that each mistake is simply an invitation to reflect on who I am and what I value. True wisdom comes from realizing how little we know. Each misstep is not a mistake, but a stepping stone towards greater understanding. According to Aristotle, every action, whether seen as a success or failure, contributes to the cultivation of virtue. It's not the action itself that defines us, but how we learn from it. Now, let's turn to Friedrich Nietzsche, who believed in the concept of becoming who you are. Nietzsche's idea of amor fati, the love of fate, suggests that every moment, including mistakes, is necessary for the person we are becoming. In my 30s, I have come to understand that all my experiences, good and bad, are part of the journey. Even the painful lessons have shaped me into who I am today. Let's take a look at Confucius, a Chinese philosopher whose teachings emphasized learning, reflection, and improvement. He believed that to learn is to correct ourselves, and in this continuous process of correction, we grow. So, whether it's Socrates' call for self examination, Aristotle's quest for balance, Nietzsche's affirmation of fate, or Confucius' commitment to learning, each philosopher offers a different perspective on how to view mistakes. For me, one of the biggest shifts came when I stopped calling my past mistakes failures. I began to view them as crucial parts of my journey. This philosophy teaches us to trust the process of life. It's like putting together a puzzle. At first, the pieces don't seem to fit, and it looks like chaos. But as time goes on, the picture becomes clearer. Every event, good or bad, is part of the larger picture. So, how can you apply this philosophy to your own life? Well, first, start by changing your language. Stop saying, "I made a mistake." Instead, say, "I learned something." Embrace every challenge, every mistake as an opportunity to grow. Here is the big takeaway from this video. There are no mistakes, only lessons, growth, and opportunities. And once you start adopting this mindset, you will find that life becomes a lot more peaceful, a lot less stressful, and way more exciting. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, make mistakes, learn from them, and move on. Much love.